My concern at the moment is that if we look into the United Kingdom, and I'll come on to your question about Kenya and Africa.
Yes.
If we look at the United Kingdom, there are no leaders. The Labour Party don't really have a leader. David Cameron's exiting. We've got to find a new Prime Minister.
Yes.
And I've been reliably informed that that Prime Minister will be identified very early part of September. We've got to hear from the Brexit team as to what's going on. Once that's done, oh, and by the way, having seen England fall out of the European Cup, we don't have a leader there either. So it's an interesting time for the United Kingdom. So going on to your question about Kenya, no, it's not an overnight reaction. I do get concerned about a lot of the exporting companies, the horticultural companies exporting into the United Kingdom, because the shilling to the pound has dropped significantly, and literally overnight from 150 to, I think last night was 133.
Okay.
So that's quite a damage to Kenya. So in answer to your question, no, it won't happen. I think the United Kingdom are a very big economy, and I think we've got very close ties with Britain.
So you say that the UK is not falling apart, but is the UK losing face and its superiority worldwide, given that we've seen that David Cameron has not been included in the Brussels talks?
No, I don't. We've got to accept what's happened with the vote. It's a democratic vote. 1.2 million people voted to leave more than to stay.
Okay.
Emotions have kicked in. You know, we've seen demonstrations on both sides. I've been very, very upset with some of the horrible attacks on some of the EU communities in Britain. It's unacceptable. It really is. So no, I think the United Kingdom is a very powerful unit. I think we've got a lot of history, and I think there'll be some common sense will fall out of what's happening at the moment.
Scotland. What happens to Scotland after Article 50?
Wow,
Scotland wanted to stay in the EU.
Yes, it's a very good question, particularly after the referendum recently, where the majority wanted to stay in.
Yeah.
Scotland is it's a very proud country, and as I've said to a lot of my Kenyan friends about Kenya's been independent for 53 years, Scotland's still fighting. That's always quite an amusing analogy. I think, frankly, the United Kingdom is a much stronger unit with everyone in there. I think it's very, very important that people have their opinions. The thought of it all breaking up, it really would not be what I want to see, and sadly it would have a kind of effect on other provinces and countries who want independence, Catalonia, for example.
Yeah.
So no, I would like to see Scotland very much staying in.
Can Scotland, block UK exit from the EU?
No, that's being raised by quite a few people. Can the referendum be overruled by Parliament and be blocked?
Yes.
The answer is no, it can't, politically. The reason being, the government elected by the people went to a referendum, and the majority of people asked to leave. To then overrule that would create, I think, quite a reaction from a lot of people. So I don't think that is a very sensible solution.
Okay.
There are talks about a general election coming up with a new Prime Minister, and if the new Prime Minister, assuming it's the same government, as the opposition at the moment seem to be disintegrating, if they were to come in, I mean, the majority will be Brexit anyway, so I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
Legally, though, I mean, your question is valid. Legally, though, it can be overruled, but that's not what happens in a democracy.
Let's move now to the UK leadership. We've seen vote of no confidence. What's happening there right now? Are they all panicking with the Brexit? Will this stabilize?
It will. Yes, it will stabilize. I mean, I would like to say that the democratic process, you can see it in the United Kingdom at the moment. But my view is that the leadership, certainly within the current government, David Cameron took a decision to leave as Prime Minister.
Yes.
He did not want to be part of the exit plan, and rightly. I think he was so emotionally determined to stay in. For him to actually lead the exit plan, it was quite difficult for him. And therefore he's handed the reins across to somebody else who will take that lead and process it.
Yeah.
The opposition, You read in the press. I'm personally, I'm not a Labourite. I haven't voted for Labour, but I think the Labour Party, the opposition, needs to be there to make the current government accountable. And the sooner they sort it out, the better. For the vote was 170 no confidence against 40. Surely that is a fairly strong indicator. But the Labour movement have a different way of electing their leaders. It's done by the unions and individual members. How it'll fall out, I don't know, but it's a bit of a mess at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Let's go to the markets now. The market pressure has eased since Brexit. The pound shows signs of recovery. Was this just a panic thing?
Yes. I mean, the speculators. I think George Soros, I was reading in an article yesterday, George Soros predicted exit and bought gold. So I think he's made a tidy sum. I'm sure there are other people who went the other way as well. So no, I think it's speculation. I think it's concerns. However, we mustn't ignore it either.
Yes.
You can't just dismiss it. The pound fluctuates considerably on the world markets. I've heard some of the prices on the stock exchanges have dropped significantly, property development, banking. I'm just hoping that with Brexit and the negotiations going forward, that the United Kingdom will help with the process of making sure that we will still work with the European Union, and more importantly, now with the rest of the world. The rest of the world is very important to us.
Thank you very much. Graham Shaw there from the British Chamber of Commerce telling us what next on Brexit.